So let's talk about hydrogen. We hear about it all the time, right? It's supposed to be this clean, green feel of the future. But what if I told you that its real identity, right now, is a massive industrial secret hiding in plain sight? The truth is so much bigger than you think, and it's time we pulled back the curtain.
No, really, just take a second and think about it. What's the image that pops into your head? I bet it's something sleek, something futuristic, maybe something you'd see in a sci-fi flick.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's one of these. You know, those silent cars that only emit water, or power plants making clean electricity, or maybe even rocket fuel for launching into space. And you're not wrong. That's what the whole hydrogen economy conversation is all about. But that conversation is missing almost the entire story.
Take a look at this number, 100 million. It's just huge. But 100 million what?
100 million tons. To give you a sense of scale, that's like the weight of 200,000 fully loaded jumbo jets every single year. It's an absolutely staggering amount of hydrogen. So that kind of begs the question, doesn't it? I mean, if it's not going into those cool cars and futuristic power plants we just talked about, then where is all this hydrogen actually going? Well, the answer has been hiding right under our noses the whole time. And here it is. This is the reality. Less than 1% of all that hydrogen goes into those new energy things we hear so much about. The other 99%? That's the invisible backbone of the industries we all depend on every single day. Okay, so let's meet these unseen giants. The two industries that eat up the vast majority of the world's hydrogen are ones you interact with all the time: agriculture and oil refining. This chart really puts it into perspective. Just look at those first two bars, ammonia production and oil refining. They absolutely dwarf everything else. Together, they account for something like 75 to 80% of all hydrogen use. Let's break down exactly why. So get this. The single biggest use for hydrogen on the entire planet is making fertilizer. It's all thanks to something called the Haber-Bosch process. It's this incredible piece of chemistry that literally pulls nitrogen out of thin air and uses hydrogen to turn it into ammonia, which is the key ingredient that helps grow the food on your plate. Okay, let's look at the chemistry here. On the left, you've got nitrogen from the air, that's N2, and our hydrogen, the H2. The Haber-Bosch process is like a high-pressure matchmaker. It forces them together under intense conditions, and pop, out the other side you get ammonia, the two NH3 molecules on the right. It's not an exaggeration to say this reaction is one of the most important in all of human history. All right, giant number two, oil refining. Before crude oil can become the gasoline in your car or the diesel in a truck, it has to be cleaned up and refined. That's where a process called hydroprocessing comes in. And as you can probably guess from the name, it uses a ton of hydrogen. You can basically think of this as a two-stage molecular washing machine. First up is hydrotreating. That's where hydrogen scrubs out nasty impurities like sulfur. Then comes step two, hydrocracking. In this step, hydrogen basically acts like a molecular sledgehammer, smashing heavy gunk-like oil molecules into the lighter, more valuable ones we actually want for fuel. Let's zoom right into that cleaning process. On the left, you see this complex oil molecule with an unwanted sulfur atom just hanging on. In comes our little hydrogen molecule, and it just grabs onto that sulfur and yanks it right out. On the right, you're left with a much cleaner fuel molecule and a separate compound, hydrogen sulfide, which can be safely captured. This is literally how we get cleaner burning fuel and help prevent things like acid rain. So beyond those two massive players, hydrogen is a critical ingredient in a bunch of other major industries, from making the plastics and paints we use every day to forging a new path for cleaner, heavy industry. On the one hand, you've got methanol production. Hydrogen is a key ingredient for making this chemical, which is a fundamental building block for, well, everything from plastics to paint. And on the other hand, you've got steel making. There's an amazing, cleaner process where hydrogen can be used to make iron without using coal. And for emissions, that's a massive deal. Let's check out the recipe. You take some carbon monoxide on the left, that's one carbon and one oxygen. You react it with two hydrogen molecules. They all rearrange themselves to form methanol on the right. That single molecule is the starting point for so many materials that shape our modern world.
Now, this is genuinely revolutionary. On the left, you've got iron ore, which is basically rust. It's just iron bonded with oxygen. Hydrogen comes along and pretty much just steals those oxygen atoms away from the iron. So what do you get? On the right, you're left with pure iron, ready to be made into steel, and the only byproduct is water, H2O. That is a total game changer for decarbonizing one of the world's most polluting industries.
So, after seeing all of that, let's bring it back to where we started. It's time to put that exciting vision of a hydrogen future into its proper context.
This quote really just brings it all home. All the hype, all the buzz about the new hydrogen economy, it's all focused on a tiny slice of the pie that makes up less than 1% of the hydrogen we already use today.
And this right here says it all. The hydrogen cars, the clean power plants, that's just the tip of a giant iceberg. The real challenge, and honestly the real opportunity, is everything happening beneath the surface. It's not about building a new hydrogen economy from scratch. It's about cleaning up the 100 million ton industrial giant that already exists. So that leaves us with the real question, doesn't it? The biggest challenge going forward isn't just about finding new fancy ways to use clean hydrogen. It's figuring out how we're going to clean up the 100 million tons our world already depends on. That's the conversation we really need to be having. Thanks for digging into this with me.